Hey everyone, Zach Mason here. Hey, I have another dream to report. So I owe you one, which I'm gonna post soon. I've already recorded one version. I might redo it, but it's the dream I had about living under Chinese occupation. I haven't posted that one yet, but that one I had a couple, I don't know, a week and a half ago. I have to go look at the exact date. Um, and I have another one I'm gonna report soon that was one that YouTube deleted that I had posted a while ago. About the jab. I guess I'm going to have to use code words to keep it from getting taken down. But I'm going to re-record that and repost it. And I'm also working on trying to get a Rumble channel going in anticipation of the day when YouTube won't like me anymore. But today, what I want to do in this video is just quickly, I had a dream a few days ago on, I believe it was Sunday. And let me go ahead and tell you what it was. I was standing on a hill, and like a green hill, but it was at night. And a cabin. There was a cabin, and on the green hill, and everywhere else it was pitch black. But there was a little bit of light around where I was, so I could see around where I was. And there was this guy standing there next to me. I didn't know him, and he yelled out, "Tornado!" And I'm looking in the blackness, and I don't see a tornado. I can't see anything. It's just black. And then there was a flash of lightning, and it illuminated, just like you saw, if you remember that scene in the movie Twister, where it was pitch black and there's lightning, and all of a sudden when the lightning flashed, you saw the tornado so close. Well, in this case, it illuminated the tornado, but it wasn't close yet. It was still in the distance. And at first, I was relaxed. I was saying, oh, that's interesting. Well, that's still kind of far away. I think I can just kind of watch it. Be interesting to watch. And but I started walking towards the cabin, and then as I'm walking, more flashes of lightning, and the tornado went boom, 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 and it just got a lot closer, a lot faster, and I panicked. I said, "Oh, we got to get inside." So I ran inside the cabin, and as I'm going inside the cabin, I caught, I had it was like a freeze frame moment where I could see the tornado in detail. And the curious part is that you imagine a normal thick funnel cloud, size-wise, I would call it an F2. If you know anything about tornadoes, F2, maybe an F3. Definitely not an F5 or that huge. So it was medium-sized. But the part that was different was at the top of the funnel cloud, there were these 5, and then later I saw it was 6 little dirt devils or dust devils, wind devils. There's little, swirling vortexes of wind you might just occasionally encounter out in nature, especially out in the desert. They're not serious. They don't do damage. It's just when you see a bunch of leaves just doing like this or something, or the dust. And I saw 5, and then at first I counted 5, and then a 6th one kind of appeared. And they were feeding the big one. And I kind of understood that the big one was being created by these 5 or 6 smaller ones. So, and then I went inside the cabin, and I kept the front door open, and I was looking out. And I saw the other man had not come in. He was still standing out there. It's not in shelter. And then a truck, and I drive a Ram 1500 truck, and I had left it parked out. I forgot to mention that. It was out there on the hill. That's where I parked it. And then I see a truck flying through the air up and going boom upside down and smashing on the ground. And at first I was like, oh no, my truck. And then I looked, and it was a dark blue Ford F-150, and it's not my truck. I was like, oh, that wasn't my truck. Whose truck was that? And I thought, oh, it was Bob's. And I guess for some reason I was thinking the guy out there, his name was Bob. But again, I didn't know him. So, but my sense was that I was completely protected in this cabin, and my truck had not been harmed. And that was pretty much the dream. So, thinking about that now, let me interpret what I'm understanding from it. And you may find other things. I don't know specifically, for example, why it was a dark blue Ford F-150. But to talk about the elements, I was on a hill and it was fertile. There was green grass and there was a cabin, so a place of shelter. So this was a hill is not in the valley. A valley is a place of trouble and struggling. Mountains and hilltops are more of challenges that we work to climb and get up. We're fighting the sinful nature, the law of gravity, to get up them. But I was on this hill, meaning I had, I guess, reached. I was not down in trouble in the valley. I was living in a place of, I guess, spiritual success in a way. I hate to put it that way because I don't want to, but I think that's what I would interpret that. And it was fertile, and there was a place of shelter, a cabin. I had my vehicle. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that till now. Okay, my Ram truck, which carries me around, it's my going, was parked. So my going was parked. I wasn't traveling. I wasn't going. But I'm looking out into the pitch blackness, the darkness of the world. And then somebody else alerted me that trouble had brewed. So like news reached me that there was a storm. Now I wanted to talk about storms. Many Christians have had dreams about, vivid prophetic dreams about coming storms. But I've noticed that there's two kinds. Mostly they're dreams of like a huge dark thunderstorm, hurricane style, coming over the land, the entire land. But I've seen other Christians have had dreams of tornadoes, of smallish tornadoes that also are scary, but they're smaller in nature. And so now, what's the difference though between those? Is that in my book, The Gospel According to Nature, I interpret a hurricane type storm as a broad judgment across an entire land, whereas a tornado is more of it's a more targeted judgment, maybe over a community. Whereas lightning is very individualized judgment. It's, very narrow in the scope of its strike. So the picture three different sizes of judgment, so to speak. So, and I've thought about it. There was a lady in my Dreams and Visions class who had a specific dream about these tornadoes, these couple of tornadoes coming, and then they struck power lines and took out the power, which helped me in that one. And I've seen other things that are similar, but it helped me put all of this together, where I believe that, and if you've spent any time on my channel, you know about what I call phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4 of the Red Horseman in America. And if you aren't familiar with those, you can go look at my videos and scroll down. And as you see black screens, those black placeholder images are compilations I've done of people's actual dreams. Not me reporting on them, but where you can hear people reporting these dreams in their own words. And because of what's been seen, I've been able to organize them into 4 categories or phases, I believe, of what happens in the United States. Phase 1 is just chaos and violence, which eventually leads to civil war. Phase 2, and then towards the end of that, we experience phase 3, which is a loss of electricity, probably caused by an EMP. Phase 4 is the invasion of the United States by Russia and China and 35 other countries. This is what has been seen. Now, therefore, I believe that the hurricane type storms, that if you have had a dream about a huge, massive storm, I believe that is a dream about phase 4, the invasion. And I have other dream evidence that connects those dots is why I think that. And I noticed that her dream, though, of these tornadoes, the tornado dreams seem different, and they're more targeted to communities. And I noticed in her specifically, the tornadoes led up to the loss of electricity, which would be phase 3. So I'm interpreting the tornado dreams as a picture of phases 1 and possibly 2, phase 1 and 2, which tells me that phases 1 and 2 will be bad and they will be scary, but they will be targeted. they're not huge, broad, sweeping judgments against the entire nation in the way that phase 4 will be. They're more targeted, and individual communities will suffer more than just every community at once, is what I'm expecting. But back to this. So this is, if that's right, then that's what I was seeing. I was seeing blackness, the blackness of the country out there, down in the valley, that where you couldn't see exactly what's happening until a lightning strike. A lightning strike is what? An individual judgment. So news stories about this school shooting, this attack on a political canvasser, people attacking pro-life clinics, a riot over here, a city burning there, an increase in murders, people, rapists being let out of jail. All of these are like lightning strikes, and they're illuminating the tornado, which is a circular movement. And if you've seen the mayor, the man who's running for mayor in Illinois, who's been talking about this law that's coming into effect in Illinois in January of 2023, he's talking about how they're not going to be able to enforce or arrest people for a lot of crimes. That's starting in January. And we also know that DAs right now are letting people out of jail with no bail. And these are because they've been supported by George Soros, and this is what he wants done. So, but this has a circular effect, because as criminals, as people who are bent towards criminal activity realize that there's no consequence, that I can rape and I can murder and I can even just vandalize and or punch somebody or hit someone in my car and whatever it is, I can push someone onto a subway, and I'm not going to be held in prison. I'm going to be let out immediately after a short drive to the police station. What is stopping me from doing it again? And the more that happens, the more court cases there are, the longer it's going to take to have anybody tried at all. Right? And that is a circular building of chaos, of judgment, because as people understand what they can get away with, the crime increases. That's what we're on the path of. So anyways, these lightning strikes were illuminating it, and at first I was just watching it and saying, oh, this is interesting to watch. It's far away. But then it got close really fast and made me realize, no, it's coming to my community, my area, and I had to get into shelter. And so I did, but I was safe. And as I've told you in many of the dreams, this is true. We are safe, we are protected as long as we're walking. All Christians who are walking well with Christ, abiding in Him, and seeking to obey Him and follow Him well, are supernaturally protected from the tornadoes. It's one of the things that we're protected from. Tornadoes are not persecution, and they're not the wrath of God. Okay, they're the wrath of man. And we are protected from man's, supernaturally protected from this, if we're abiding on Him. That's what I saw in the dream even. I was in the shelter. Now, Bob, I don't know why, I don't even know who Bob was. The name Bob to me is like one of the most general American male names there are. So perhaps, and it's not a real formal name, so perhaps it's just speaking of the general American public that are going to stay outside the shelter and be vulnerable to the tornado. But he was not swept up, right? So again, he was not swept up, but his truck was. His truck was destroyed. So I'm kind of interpreting that right in this moment. I guess that would mean that the tornado storms, the phase 1 and phase 2, are going to be targeting, certain communities are going to be devastated, but maybe the entire general American public isn't swept up, so to speak, but their going is. Their ability to travel is. That's interesting. Anyways, got more to think about that one. But that is the dream. That's my understanding of it so far. And maybe you have some other insights. Maybe you can share them with me. I hope you have a great day, and we'll be talking to you soon.